Hi guys, welcome back. Before we start our lesson today, can you help me to subscribe my channel, like and share this video? We're going to talk about application of what we have learned in the previous video, that is identifying power in the chart. So we're going to look at a lot of powerful charts, okay, few of them. Okay, stay tuned. We're going to start very soon. Okay, now let's look into one application of the lesson we learned in the previous part 1 and part 2. So in this part 3, I'm going to talk about a real world example or real world application of identifying powers in the chart. So only when the chart is power, you identify power in the chart, there's a very high likelihood you will earn big money. So our topic of that video or this 3-part series was getting big money. So how do you get big money? That is through power in the chart. So now here what I have is actually a company known as Greatech Technology. Is actually a very new company, just recently went for an IPO in somewhere in 2019. I think specifically the date is here, 13 June 2019. That's when the company went into the share market and started to trade the shares. So we are trying to analyze this particular company, which is actually a very, I would say, it's a very good company up to now. And I think they're involved in some green technologies and automation, all those stuffs. Okay, so here we can see that. So let's try to see whether this is an uptrend. We're going to look at the first scenario, which is an uptrend scenario. So let's try to see if it is an uptrend. Okay, now. Okay, you can see that. Okay, maybe I will use. Okay, maybe I will just explain to you from here to here. Okay, so okay, that's one move, right? And then so this is the low. Okay, maybe I will use pen here. I hope it works on this. Okay, this is the low. It's very hard to draw here. That's the high. Okay, it's a bit hard to draw, so that's why I try to avoid pen on this. Okay, maybe I'll use text. Okay, that's your low, and that's your low, and that's your high, H. Okay, so you can see the high there. Not really at the right place, so maybe I put somewhere up here, high. Okay, so that's a high. Then we will see another low here. Okay, so a bit difficult to navigate using these tools. Okay, so then there's a high there. Okay, so now what we found is this portion here is what they call lower high. Yes, lower high. It's called lower high. That's a lower high. The next one here is higher high. Okay, I think I shouldn't call it lower high. In fact, I think I messed up myself. This is supposed to be called as higher low. This should be a higher low. Okay, that's called higher low. I'm not sure how to erase this stuff. Okay, never mind. So this part, yeah, just undo it. So this is, that's called higher low. Okay, not lower higher, higher low. And then that part is called higher high. Okay, so the moment we notice that we have well, that higher high doesn't appear in the right place. Okay, higher high. Okay, that's done. So the moment we see a higher high and lower high, So that denote to us that this is a uptrend. Okay, this is an uptrend. Now once we confirm on that, so we also have the two loops as we saw earlier. So I have no choice but I have to use pen here. Okay, this is the first loop. Okay, and then that's the second loop. Okay, those are the two loops. So loops is defined by low, high, and higher low for uptrend. Then the second loop is also another low, higher high, and a low there. So here we have a low here, higher. Yeah, it's very difficult to use pen. Here I have to use. Okay, this is gonna be higher, low. Okay, higher, low. Okay, so loops are the two loops identified. Next thing we probably it's a good idea to recap one of the lesson in my playlist, which is called identifying strength. So let's try to see if this particular chart has got strength. So once we identify strength, probably then we can look at whether it has got power in it. Is the strength powerful enough to break the previous high? Okay, now how do you identify? Here we have a tool called ruler here, so we can use this ruler. So we start from the low here, and then we can drag it to the high. So you see it's one. So if you look at, if you know how to study this, it's a, so the difference between the low and the high here is actually 1.625. Okay, it's a difference one, so maybe 1.6. Not a good idea as well. Okay, 1.625. Okay, so that's the difference. And then I take the ruler again. I measure from the low here all the way to high. There is 2.85. So that's the price difference between the higher low and higher high. 2.5. I will jot it down. 2.85. Okay, there goes 2.5. So now what we notice is the second, in the second loop, it is 2.85, whereas in the first loop it is 1.625. So the second loop is actually, it actually has gone a bit more high. It has gone a bit more higher than the first loop. So this tells us from the video that we studied earlier on the strength of the market, or the charts, strength of the charts, we know that this particular chart is actually in a strong upward move. It's in a strong upward move because the recent move is much stronger than the previous move. Therefore, we conclude that this portion of the chart is in a strong upward move. That means there is a high tendency that the chart is going to continue to move up, and we can see at this portion here, it really went up. See, it went. Now the next thing we want to look at whether this chart has got enough power to break the high. So this is the high, right? This part is the high. So we know that it broke up here. It went up, right? It went up. But we want to see what the theory that we learned in the previous video, does it conform to what we see practically here. Okay, so the theory says that you got to look at the retracement. So there is one retracement here, and then there's another retracement here, right? So there are two retracement there. So we want to see how far did it retrace. So one tool I want to suggest to you is a Fibonacci tool. So you can go to Fibonacci Retracement and click on that. So basically what you have to do is you click on the beginning here all the way to the high. Okay, so now you can see this is the, so you see 0%, 23%, 38%, 50%, 61%, 70. These are the Fibonacci levels. So we want to see how far did it. So if you look here, this is the place where it traces down to, right? So this place, as you can see, it's in our chart, is somewhere around 78 it's 78.6%. So that means it retraces about 78.6%. Okay, roughly. So this is just rough. Okay, that is in the first loop. Then let's apply the Fibonacci again. So this time I'm going to apply the low here. That is just rough. So roughly we can see to the high. Okay, roughly I put it there. Okay, there's a lot of things there which is disturbing me. Okay, so now what I want to do is, okay, we now have got the Fibonacci levels. So this part is the low, right? So this low is somewhere, if you try to draw it, is somewhere between these two levels. It's between the 23.6% and 38.2%, somewhere between that. So we can roughly estimate, probably it's like traces about 30%. So let me put it on 30. Okay, so it's very difficult to 30%. Okay, this is my just rough estimate because it's somewhere in between 23.6 to 38.2. So we can see in the first loop it retraces about 78.6%. In the second loop it retraces only 30%. That means there is only the supply only covered. There were less supply. In other words, there were less supply in the second loop. There were more supply during the first loop, and therefore the demand is there is less supply in the second loop. It's only 30% because there's still more demand to it. So the supply is still there, less, but the demand is more. So that's why it only managed to retrace up to 30%. So after it went down with 30%, then you see that it sharply moved upward. It sharply moved upward, and it even go beyond the previous high, and that actually confirms what we were studying in the previous video, the theory of it, part 1 and part 2. If you have not watched, please watch it. So the moment in the second loop retracement is lower than the first loop, that indicates to us the power is still there. Therefore this chart, in this chart we saw that after it retraces 30%, it should all the way up. And if I were to scroll this chart, right, see the way it moves very, very high. So it's still moving. Even up to now it's still moving upward, and you see the power. You would have earned a lot of money if you invested at the right place here. Let's say somewhere here you invested. Okay, somewhere here if you invested, I'm sure you have earned a lot of money from this chart. Okay, we'll see another chart after this. Okay guys, before we move on to the next example, to stay tuned with all my videos, please subscribe my channel, like and share these videos so that more will get benefit of it. So without wasting time, let's begin. Okay guys, in this part, this next example, we're going to look at different kind of uptrend that has got less power in it. Okay, so I'm going to look at one of the Malaysian listed company in Bursa Malaysia, which is known as Inari Marathon. Also is a technology based company. So if you look at this chart, do we see a uptrend? Okay, that's the thing we need to but for information, I'm not gonna study the full chart. I'm gonna take one section of the chart. So I'm gonna focus on this portion of the chart. Okay, now let's try to determine if in this portion in this small portion, I would say it's not so small portion. I think it ranges for about 2 months, slightly more than 2 months. It's actually a 2 months period chart. Okay, so maybe we'll try to see if it's in uptrend. So I'm going to pick up the tools. Okay, here this is a low, and then that's your high. Okay, so I'm going to say this is a low. and I'm gonna say this part is the high, and after that, actually it's not very I would say it's not very good chart. You know why? The reason is because the retracement is only for 2 days now. It traces only for a while, so it's not so. I would prefer to have a retracement that is slightly longer to have more precision to it. But anyway, since you already pick up the chart, I'll use it. So from here to here, that's okay. Sometimes it's less reliable if it is just a very short period of retracement. Okay, so anyway, I think this chart is still not bad in terms of giving us the theory application of the theory. So this one is the higher low, and then on the higher low doesn't appear at the right place. Okay, so we are just studying this 2 months period. I think it is always good to have a long-term view as well as a short-term view when you are investing. So right now I'm actually on a short-term kind of or rather medium-term. Okay, I don't know what's happening to this higher low. It's always missing my point. Okay, I'll put it back here. Okay, now it's like every time I try to put it, okay, I'm clicking at this here, but then it places it at somewhere else. That's a funny thing about this tool. But anyway, we'll leave it like that. So then we have another place here. This is the higher high. Okay, so we notice somewhat the higher high and higher low. Therefore, we can say that this is somewhat trying to be an uptrend for that 2-month period. But does it have any power to continue to be an uptrend? Okay, so does it have any power to continue an uptrend? So first we can try to measure the strength of it. What's the strength of it? So we can take from this point to that point. So the strength measurement I've already explained in one of the video. So here it says 27 cents. It went up by 27 cents. So we'll put it here. Went up by 27 cents. 0.27. Okay, then the next one, we'll take the ruler again. We'll measure from this low to that high. It went up by 25 cents. No? Oh, so it's slightly lower than the previous one. So it went up by 0.25. Okay, so when the second loop, so or rather in the second okay, I'll show you the loops as well. So the way we have loop here is from here, from there the low up to here, that's one loop. Then from there up to here there's another loop. Okay, those are the two loops. So in the second loop we saw that it is increased by 25 cents. In the first loop it increased by 27 cents. So the moment we saw that the recent loops, the increment that we have is much less than the first loop, then it already sounds an alarm that the trend is getting weak. Okay, so basically we are in a weak uptrend. Okay, now the strength is it is in a weak uptrend. But now let's look whether is there any, even though it's a weak uptrend, there's still a chance of it moving upward, but in a weak manner. But now we want to see whether does it have any power to break the previous high. Okay, we want to see whether it has got any power to break the previous high. Okay, now how we check on the power? It's by using the Fibonacci retracement tool. So that's gonna help us to see the retracement. So I'll pick on the retracement tool. So from the low here up to all the high there, okay, you can actually do like this. Okay, as long as it goes to the high. Now I see it touches almost 50%. So that means it retraces almost 50%. Okay, so let me make it clearer to you. So it went all the way down to here, so which is somewhere in the somewhere, if you look this line, it is actually in the 50%. Okay, so that's the line. It's very hard to draw. Okay, so that's the line. So if you notice the line, it touches that 50% line. So we will say that this went down by 50%. Okay, now let's look at the second loop. So the second loop, again I will pick the Fibonacci. So I'll start from the low that we have here, then I'll try to go to the high. Okay, I went to the high already. Now it's a bit difficult to read, but the thing is, so maybe what I can do is I can remove off the previous Fibonacci. Now it becomes clearer. Now if you look, it went down like this. It almost went back to that zero level. No, it didn't go back to the zero level. It actually it went back to zero level actually. In other words, it retraces. It went to the, very difficult to see for me. Oh, it is between it's between 100% and 78.6% retracement. Okay, so here it's in between the range. So it's between here and there. So this point is somewhere in between the two. Okay, it's between the two. So you can roughly estimate that it is I would say it's around 85%. Okay, I would say 85%. So let's put it at 85%. Okay, so the second retracement is like 85%. So it almost went to the bottom of it. So it went all the way high, then it dropped all the way down back to where it was. No, so it dropped like 85%. So we can see here the second loop is having much more supplies, such that the price went down so much the demand was not able to support the supply that was existing in the market. So that's why the price keep dropping down, and this indicate to us it's actually really doesn't have any power to beat the previous high. So in fact, we observe in our chart, okay, you can see that this is the previous high, right? So you can see when it climbed back, it did not manage to climb beyond the high. It in fact went down. Okay, it in fact went down, right? So the chart tells us that first it was a weakening uptrend. It was a weakening uptrend. Number two, it did not have any power to beat the previous high. And in fact, this particular example confirmed to the theory that we learned. The only drawback I would say in this example is when it comes to retracement, the retracements are too short, so sometimes they are not reliable. But in this case, it still produced me the correct correct answer. But try to bit more careful when you have like very short retracement. Maybe it is not so reliable, no? Okay, with that, I want to conclude with this uptrend. I'll make another part number 4, which is going to discuss about downtrend. So we're going to see the two scenarios. One is the one with the power and one without power, but for the case of downtrend. Okay, but before we leave, right, I want you guys to please click subscribe, like and share this video. Definitely I'll post up a lot of other videos that will actually help you to build your credential and also your ability to to do trading in the stock market or commodity market, gold market or cryptocurrency or currency, whatever market it is, because these are all about understanding the psychology of the market. Okay, so it's going to be very helpful to build your knowledge, okay, and so that you make less errors. And now we can see from this video, our theory somewhat is actually making some sense, and then from this we can earn big money. Okay, from this we can try to avoid charts that is not really promising, saving us the headache of losing money, and in fact focus more on charts that actually give us the power to earn more money. Okay, so that's how we earn more money. Okay, thank you.